Well, hey everybody, it's Tuesday. It's a Tuesday sports algorithm and podcast in general. We like to talk. I do more than just sports. But we will start with sports and we'll continue to go through sports. So I have what I'm ready to call a winning strategy about betting both sides of games and anticipating lead changes. And you're not going to win every game, but you're going to win more games than you don't. And you're also going to win more than just like 1 or 10%. I was looking and researching other videos today. Boy, there's a lot of great sports betting people doing work out there, and there's some people that are incorporating Chat GPT already into creating sports betting models. This is the future. It is all going to be amplifying our intelligence with artificial intelligence to get optimal odds to have automatic trading bots. Like, you're probably going to be able to subscribe to a sports betting trading algorithm or something and try to get a cut of whatever it does every day. I think that's kind of the direction we're going. It's going to be algorithm versus algorithm battle. The sports bettors wager versus the actual sports books algorithm. Now, this gives you an advantage as a wagerer simply because the line kind of has to change if they're going to offer live betting on games. So you can't hide what the true line is. And if they're going to let us bet on both sides of the game, which as far as I can tell, it actually is okay. It's not really arbitrage, and it's acceptable because it's dependent on lead changes and line changes. So I think that this is probably going to be acceptable, at least in the near future. So what do you do and how do you do this? I've been doing some longer videos the last couple of days. I'll make it much briefer in this video today as we go over each game. So I'm looking to determine whether or not a game is bet both sidesable. Let's call that, right? Like, do you want to take Anaheim at plus 435 and wait to see if they potentially go up, and you can eventually get Tampa Bay at a better line than 520 and hopefully a positive line of over plus 100? That one probably not so much. Anaheim back-to-back game in Florida. They lose one late to Florida after taking the lead. It's possible that's a really juicy line. So to start off a hockey game, I would normally say yes, but there are no signs that Anaheim will ever really be up in this game. So I'm going to stay away from that one because it's games that have huge margins between teams are not the games you want to do this. You want to bet games that are supposed to have lead changes and be very close, and where you can get a good line. All those three things. Now, we have Montreal and New Jersey. Montreal still playing pretty good out of the break. All these goalies are expected. This is the number 3 pick of the day, 65-16. Well, I guess it's a no. Even though, yeah, there's nothing that's saying that Montreal really does it against New Jersey, and including goaltending. I don't know who the goalie's going to be, but probably not here either. Should be you may not get Montreal up in the game, and they also may not push New Jersey into a positive line, even if they're up 1-0. So I'm going to stay away from that one. Here is a game I can bet in Washington. I'm not going to go to this Caps game today, but I am going to bet, and this is one of those rare instances where I can bet against the Caps and not worry about it, because algorithm says that Detroit wins this game. They're an underdog at plus 135 because they're coming into Washington and they're still Detroit. It's probably going to be Ville Husso. You can see how bad Washington is playing. So we're going to make a wager on Detroit at plus 135. I wish it was a little bit higher, but that's fine. We are rooting for Detroit to win at the start of the game, to get ahead, right? We want them to get ahead so that we can get Washington at an underdog line at some point. Hopefully a lot better than plus 135. But if it's better than plus 100 at all, we will absolutely win money on this game. There's no confusion about that. If you get two lines where you get both teams at more than plus 100 and you bet the same amount of money on both teams, the same game, you will win money. So we're starting this one's a game, and I love this because we get to root. I get to root for Washington eventually if they fall behind. If Washington takes a lead and never looks back, gonna not be able to bet Washington. and I'm going to lose. Now, that my luck and being a Washington fan, that's probably what happens. Is Washington probably gets up to a lead and never relinquishes it, and I can never bet them. But because the algorithm says Detroit wins, and I've been just watching the Caps lately, I don't know if Ovechkin is back yet. I don't know. I have to look at the news on that. That would be helpful, but I don't know if he's back or not. Somehow Darcy Kemper's rating is better than Billy Hussein's. I'm surprised at that, but that's true. All right, so like I said, pick number one for betting both sides. We're taking Detroit plus 135. Hopefully they get off to a lead, and the Caps come back to win. Next, St. Louis, Carolina. Could be. You can see this game is closer than these two games. So it's maybe a possibility. St. Louis at Carolina. Plus 290. Got a former Stanley Cup champion. St. Louis playing a little better recently. This is a possibility. Carolina is playing pretty darn well, though. We'll stay away from it because it is the fourth pick of the day. The high picks of the day, you're probably not going to arbitrage these games or, same bet both sides, as they say. I'll stay away, but I'm thinking about it. All right. It's not a great one, even though the line's really good to start off. If the line's really good, I should look at that. I'm going to pass over it. All right. Next, Buffalo, Toronto. So this one's got signs of, possibility here. So some Sonov, Pekalokinen. Buffalo has a way of playing in games that seem to have a lot of lead changes. I think it's because they've got some offense. You can see it's supposed to be a 1-goal game. Buffalo's strength is up at 45, so they're supposed to give a fight. So yeah, we're going to start with a Buffalo plus 150 wager in this game. And we're going to hope they get ahead, and we're going to hope it pushes Toronto to a positive line. So that's another one. This is close enough. So we've got Detroit so far and Buffalo so far. Straight bets. Next, Vancouver and Nashville. Also really close. Yeah, closest game of the day, 9-10. So you get Vancouver's another one. So it's the third one we're going to play, hoping that Vancouver gets off to a lead and we can bet Nashville at a positive line. This one's too close to call right now with LA and Minnesota at only plus 110 and minus 126. If anything, it says it's going to be an under in this game, surprisingly, with Phoenix Copley and Philip Gustafson. They're going. So I bet you the over-under is set at 6.5 in that game. Let's take a look. 6. But it does think it'll be an under. 6 is kind of tough, though. And I really don't want to focus on just straight bets on winners because I much prefer to do what I'm doing with a working strategy, which is, playing both sides of the game and anticipating lead changes. You do have to pay attention to the games and make those bets when those lead changes happen. But I'm willing to do that at night to prove this to work. Vegas and Chicago. Number one pick is Vegas. Laurent Brossoit is probably starting tonight. And he's making his first start of the season. I believe I had to add his goalie and I had to give him a different goaltender stats. So, is he actually confirmed? We need to change a formula to answer that question. We're going to find out. He's right here. He is confirmed. He is confirmed. So that brings up an interesting question because whenever you have a goalie who hasn't played a lot or is making his first start of the season, even though he's played previously, let's see what it says expected. So here you got your expected confirmed goalies now. Both these guys confirmed. His rating is not 67. I gave him Aiden Hill's rating. And it makes, Vegas also playing excellent. So they probably win, but with a new goalie, I'm tempted to try Chicago. Possibility, but it's an unknown, so I'm going to stay away from that. Philly and Edmonton. This game is closer than you think. It is. See how this is a 30 to 50? It's a 20% margin compared to something up here where you've got a 41% margin, a 49% margin. Like, these are enormous margins. This one's only 20. Philly coming off a nice win last night. but it is a back-to-back game, but Carter Hart's going. Which means if Philly does get ahead against Edmonton, Edmonton will probably come back. So I see this as a possibility again. It's a good line. So I'll take that one too as a late game to start that off. Edmonton finds weird ways to play big scoring games. There's a lot of goals in this game for sure. Yeah, what's the over? Probably 7. Yeah, you understand at 7 already. All right. Well, what is our hockey? And then we'll go over to college basketball real quick. Philly, maybe Chicago because of Laurent Brissant going, but we'll just stay away from that because there's an unknown. Philly, Vancouver, Buffalo, and Detroit. Those are the starting 4 teams for betting both sides action. And we'll hope there are lead changes in those games and bet both sides and profit on those games. Now let's go over to college basketball. College basketball. This is also getting me excited to do NBA because I'm sure there are a ton of league changes in NBA, and NBA will be a really good sport for doing this. We need to update the date here of 2/21. And once we do that, things will work. All righty. So we've got not a ton of games here on the Monday. And yesterday worked out well for the most part. Didn't win every game, but worked out well enough. And certainly the game that I told you to play at the start of the day, which was Morgan State yesterday, that one worked out pretty well. Let's double check that we refreshed our injury report. I think we did. And here's what we've got. So what do we want? We want close games where we can get a big underdog line. We also want to glance at winners too, because we do that. So I always say play home teams. You've got a good deal of home teams on here. There's no home underdogs, right? No, of course not. No home underdogs, but you do have some lines down here, but you have some injuries down here also. Injuries here to Xavier against Villanova. That's why they're only minus 195. So that's a big injury number. So Miami, Ohio, Toledo. Are they breathing in all that toxic air and water from the Palestine train derailment? How close is this? It's probably not that close, but that stuff's going to spread. Scary stuff. Air Force over Fresno State, minus 140. It's got a decent line. So there's some things in here for those of you who want to bet home teams. I mean, that's still probably going to be part of my betting repertoire, but that's not what I want to do here. I found there's much better ways to do this. So there are no home underdogs to take that it favors. We're not going to mess. I mean, boy, Villanova, it makes sense to make a bet on because they're healthy and Xavier's not. So even though Xavier's home, you get this underdog line on Villanova. Let's start opening up everything and we're going to talk about what to play. So we have no filters on right now at all. And what I'm talking about, I guess we could literally look at it like this. Watch this. So I'm going to sort everything simply descending by money line. And it's going to show us our biggest underdogs. Money line right here. All underdogs, not underdogs that it picks, just all underdogs. But I'm looking at margin, and we're going to up the home bump to, we'll call it 10% first. And then we're going to look and we're going to see where we have any home teams up here, as well as teams that have reasonable margins. Because like we're just scrolling down, we're looking for a really close margin and we're looking for a home team. Essentially, we really want a positive margin. I really should do it that way. This is a little too complicated to look at it this way. Greater than, margin is greater than 0. So I added a 10% home bump and I'm sorting descending. So essentially all these teams are bad. The lines are not good. We don't have even a plus 176 for Morgan State like we did yesterday. We don't even have it. Wow. Wow. So it becomes a live betting phenomenon, which is kind of what I was saying. Like there's nothing good, right? There's nothing good to take here as a big underdog. The best thing you have is a plus 125 of Miami away at Virginia Tech. They're away too. You do have a Kansas State beating Baylor. Wow. That's gonna be a good game. But it's plus 110. So this is miserable from a pregame perspective. And I'm kind of glad that I got fed up with betting before the game only and kind of watching my wagers, because that is not the way to do this. Like I can guarantee you, I can 100% guarantee you that when you're looking down the list, all right, let's go back to 0% bump for a second. I guarantee you that 90% of these teams that it's favoring, 90% of them, if not more, will have a line on them that is better than the published line pregame at some point throughout the game. It will be 90% of them, because it's so rare that a team just goes berserk and goes straight up and just, their lead keeps increasing on the other team the whole time. It doesn't, most games do not go like that. So, especially games that are supposed to be close. So there will always, I'm putting an asterisk on that word always, because it's not always, but 90% of the time or more, you're going to get an option during the game of a line that is better than that. So why bet it before the game? If you can pay attention and spend time watching the game, you should, because, what's going to happen? Who's it going to be? It's going to be probably something like this, right? Indiana. Well, they're hurting. Let's look at the home teams. Like, yeah, what home team is going to fall behind? Let's see if we can figure it out by injuries. Missouri, maybe. Missouri will eventually be a positive line, probably in the first half, because they get down to Mississippi State because they're injured. Or, like I said, this Villanova game. That's right. I wanted to look at what the other side of this game was, and I guess we can look at it in the odds thing too to make it easier. Villanova. Could open it up. I'm just going to look at it right here. So it's right up there at the top. It's an early game at 6:30. And yeah, they're plus 165. So that actually is a pregame wager because of Xavier's injuries. So there's a chance that Villanova gets ahead and Xavier has trouble winning and coming back, even though they have an 18% margin and they're at home. That's a big injury number. What else is going to happen? Maybe Missouri State is going to fall behind to Murray State because they're at 90% health and only a 3% margin at home. That's probably a really good one. So Murray State, although they're away, I don't like that. But Murray State's underdog line to start the game, possibility. Take that. So I hope I'm explaining, kind of how you do this, but it's really a live betting phenomenon. And so publishing the algorithms only has so much of an impact. So whoever's like hacking my computer, making people pretend that it's in New York or wherever it is right now, because I can't make bets on FanDuel. I can't watch stuff on ESPN on my computer because it does not have my location correctly. And I've reset everything and it ain't working. So somebody's trying to hack in, I think, is what's going on. Joke's going to be on you, by the way. If you tried to hack in, you're going to have the FBI after you because of where I used to work. So get ready for that. For whoever did. I love that. Whenever I get hacked, I'm like, boy, the FBI is probably at their doorstep right now. That's pretty funny. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully I gave you some decent advice. We'll watch some sports. I'll continue to do the betting both sides method, and I will do a recap tonight and let you know how it goes and where I found some value in the games. But for those of you who are just, trying to, on its face, just glance at this and, what is Ken saying to do? The answer is that I'm saying that games down here that are below 10% margin are supposed to be dogfight games. And so anytime you can get these teams at their underdog line, like you could consider taking all these guys pregame, but you're going to get much better lines after the game starts in different situations. So it's just much better to watch the games. But it's basically anything down here, like even below 20%. that these games are going to be the games where you're going to want to focus because you're going to expect lead changes. And so that's how you do this. All right. Good luck, everybody. May all your picks be winning. Good luck, hackers. May all your doors not get bashed in by the feds. All right. Well, maybe not. Good luck. May all your picks be winning.